let's learn how to take care of tempera paint. The first thing I need to do is set up my workspace. So I have what I'm painting on, which for me is my sketchbook. I have my brush holder with brushes in it. I have a cup of water filled halfway, so it's not too full. I have a paper towel, and of course I have my tempera paint. We store our tempera paint in ice cube trays that have a lid on them, and we store them by color family. So we have warm colors, which is what I have here, and then we also have cool colors and neutral colors. When I carry my ice cube tray, which we will be calling our paint tray, I hold it flat. I do my best not to tilt it because the colors could spill into each other. When my workspace is all set up, I can take the lid off of my paint tray very carefully, and I can begin painting. It's usually a good idea to draw your picture out with a pencil first so you know exactly where you are going to paint. Then I get a brush, and the first thing I need to do is make sure my brush is clean. I do that by scraping it at the bottom of my water cup, just in case whoever used my brush before me didn't clean it out very well. It's always a good idea to do that first. My brush is clean. I'm going to pat it gently on my paper towel, and then I can dip my brush into a color to begin painting. When I dip my brush, I need to make sure that I do not get paint on the handle. I only get paint on the hair of the brush. When I'm painting, I should hold my brush like a pencil, and I like to hold it right where this metal part meets the handle. That's how I can have the most control over my brush. So I'm going to carefully pull the brush in the direction I want the paint to go. We do not color with our paintbrush. We drag the brush. We need to make sure we are keeping the brush up on its tippy toes like a ballerina. When your paint starts to look scratchy, that just means your brush is getting dry. You need to add a little more paint to it. You do not need to add more water to it. When I am ready to switch colors, I need to make sure I clean my brush really well so they do not get mixed, so it does not get mixed up with the other colors. So I gently scrape it at the bottom of my water cup, pat it on my paper towel, and that's how I'll know it's clean, when I'm patting it down and there's no color on my paper towel. Now I can pick a new color. I think I'll do this fluorescent reddish orangish, and I can paint with my new color. And I can even let my colors overlap on my paper or mix together on my paper if I want. I just need to be careful not to let my colors mix together in the paint tray. So again, when my paint starts to look scratchy, I can get a little bit more on my brush. If I want to pre-mix my colors, we have these trays that are Taco Bell trays actually. No, nobody has eaten off of these. We can pre-mix colors in here. That way we don't have to worry about them getting mixed up in our paint tray. So to do that, we make sure we have a clean brush, pat it on the towel, and I'm going to scoop a little bit of paint onto my brush, and then I'm going to find a corner of my mixing tray where I can twist the paint off of my brush like that. And I'm going to do that a bunch of times because it's always good to make a little bit more paint than you might need. Now I'm going to clean my brush, pat it on my towel, get my second color that I'm going to be mixing, and I'm going to scrape that in a different spot. Then I can start mixing these together. When you mix two colors together on a mixing tray or a palette, it's important that you try to keep it in a small area. If you stir it around the whole big area, your paint's going to dry out. So I'm going to keep it contained to a small area by just doing little tiny circles like this and pulling the paint to the middle. And a little bit more. Now I have my new color. And then I can get more of it without having to clean my brush, which is nice. Okay, clean up. I should clean my brush in my water. If your water, you could still kind of see through mine. If it gets so dirty that you can no longer see through it at all, you should gently pour it out in the sink and refill it. But your water should be clean enough that you can clean your brush, pat it dry, smooth it out, and then put it bristles up back in the paintbrush holder. Mixing trays, if you have time, you should wash them in the sink with a sponge and then put them on the drying rack behind the sink to dry. Paint. Put the lid on carefully. Hold it flat. If you are carrying your paint tray, that's the only thing you should be carrying. You should not try to carry more than one thing at once. So I'm going to carry my paint tray and hold it flat and put it back in the paint cabinet. My painting needs to go on the drying rack. My paper towel can go in the garbage. And my water cup, I can gently pour it out in the sink. If there's any water or any paint stuck to the bottom of my cup, I should give it one quick rinse and pour that out, and then I can set that on the countertop. Okay, happy painting and take care of supplies.